Got yogurt for days here. Fruit, yogurt, and honey, man, is such a sick combo. Anyways, what this video is about, though, is about the worst trading advice that I ever received. And what's funny is I receive the same trading advice all the time. And it's always the same, but slightly different. But it always sounds like, if you're struggling in your trading, you need to trade exactly like I trade. It's the only way to do it. How many times have you heard this? I've heard it so many times. And there's two fallacies in here. The first one is that if you're struggling, you cannot be profitable. I know that's not the case, because even when you're making money, sometimes you're struggling and you're just not making as much as you could. And the second concept here is that there's only one way to trade, which is definitely not true. There's so many ways to trade profitably. So we're going to come back to that, and we're going to address them one by one. But if you don't know me, welcome in. Much love, Trav here. I'm an adventure entrepreneur and trader living here on west of Oahu in Hawaii. Got the mountains in front of me. Climbed both these mountains recently. But the highest point you can see, I was up there on Monday. Anyway, so let's address these one by one. The first one is that I come on here and I'm authentic and I'm transparent. Sometimes I'm saying, like, I struggle, and I tell you the last month in my trading has been a bit of a struggle. That said, it was a profitable month, right? So you're always going to be losing as a trader. You just start to win more than you lose, and you're going to make more. I wouldn't say always, but generally you have a win percentage. You don't trade 100%. It's not just up and up and up. And even as a professional trader, you may have to switch systems. The system stops working. You might only be profitable. Richard Dennis, who turned $400, he turned $400 into $200 million. He was only profitable in 50 to 60% of months, right? So trading is always, to a degree, going to be a struggle with some losing. And if you come out and you say, hey, I'm struggling a little bit, and someone says, well, you need to change systems. No, don't do it, because systems are always going to run into rough patches as well. Now, you do want to find a system that works for you mentally as well as you can, that works for your personal psychology and is less of a struggle, but there's always going to be a struggle. Now, the second one, and I always hear this is funny, people are like, I got one recently that says, I was saying, for instance, for me, I live in Hawaii. This is I'm going to give you the actual worst trading advice I ever heard. I live in Hawaii. New York Open is 3 a.m. I never trade New York Open. And someone says, well, you're never going to make it if you cannot trade New York Open, you're fucked. You need to trade New York Open and trade indices. If I were you, I'd consider moving. And I'm like, yo, I don't know if y'all know my story at all. I traveled for so many years to find Hawaii and to live here. And it's so much more important than trading to me, living in Hawaii. I thrive here in the sun, in the ocean, in the mountains, culturally. I fit in. It's amazing. And the idea that you need to move, you should sacrifice where you live so you can trade New York Open, that's the worst specific trading advice I've ever heard in my entire life, right? I'm here to tell you, you can trade profitably from anywhere in infinite number of ways. And how do I know this? Because people it's funny when people are like convinced there's only one way to trade. You haven't sampled and you haven't actually investigated the truth. So how do I know? How do I know? Well, one is through Market Wizards. Jack Schwager went and interviewed the best fund managers, the best hedge fund managers, the best personal traders and prop traders with verified track records. And he found they trade in many different ways. Some of them trade fundamental, some of them trade technical, some of them are scalpers, some of them are long-term traders, some of them are news traders, some of them trade only limit orders, some of them trade only market orders, some of them trade only Forex, some of them only trade bonds, some of them only trade futures, some of them only trade S&P, some of them only traded crypto during 2020, 2021. So there's so many different ways to trade. And also another way that I verified this is I like to look at the who's winning the national investing championships or the world investing championship. There's the Robbins Cup, so you can see who's leading. You can look at who won previous years. Mark Minervini, Oliver Kell, these people are out there with content. They have books, they have courses, and I'm not against paying for knowledge, but it's like, take something and add it to what works for you, right? Or you might be lucky and find a system that really suits your personality. But what's crazy is the Robbins Cup, I haven't checked in the past couple of weeks, but the leader, we're getting late in the year now, he's up over 300% on Forex. He's taken something like 1,000 trades, and he's only lost a couple trades, and he doesn't trade with a stop loss. So I would say always trade with a stop loss. You need to trade with a stop loss. All the best traders trade with a stop loss. That's not true. There's really good traders who don't use a stop loss. Stanley Druckenmiller doesn't use a stop loss. A lot of hedge fund managers don't use stop losses just because they get too big, and they also know that their positions get targeted if they're in the books, right? So you can trade any number of ways. And you can also, there's so many ways. People do it trading insane retardo risk. People do it trading really tight. People do it trading a lot. So when anyone says you need to trade this way, they're full of shit. And it's also a sign that they're uneducated on trading. They haven't studied what the top traders actually do. Or you find out if you study the top traders, they do all kinds of things. They do everything, right? So again, two really important messages. You're going to struggle in your trading, even when you're profitable and winning. And two, you need to find something that's custom and tailored to you and makes sense for you and suits your personality. And forget the idea that there's only one way to trade. And if someone comes at you and says, you have to trade like me, you don't, right? There's so many ways to trade. Now, I'm not telling you all to trade like me, and I'm not saying the people who are telling me how I need to trade like me either. You can trade New York, you can trade London, you can trade limit orders and not be beholden to a set schedule, and that's what I do. Is typically I'm trading limit orders. If I trade anything, I trade the daily crypto close, 2 p.m. Hawaiian time. And I've got systems. It's funny, people tell me that doesn't work, and I'm like, I have the computer data, it does work. People have opinions, and opinions don't care. Math doesn't care about your feelings, right? So always verify, right? You can verify by looking at the Robbins Cup winners, the national stock investing winners. You can verify through back testing and find, hey, there's so many ways. There's so many ways to do this. How do you want to do it? So start with, the worst advice I ever got was to move from Hawaii, because the worst advice is to base your life around trading, right? You have to trade one way and even base your life around it. I'm telling you, base trading around your life. How do you like to live? How do you like to do? How do you like to be? Base trading around that. Not base your life around trading. Base trading around when you have free time. Don't base your free time around when the market is. You can always trade limit orders, and you don't need to be there. And you can just check at random times when you need to, when you have actual unreliable free time. There's so many. I'm not saying you need to do it. If I was in New York, I would probably trade in New York, but I'm not, and I don't need to be successful as a trader. So hope you find that useful. I'm about to pull in and actually do my trading session. It's 1 p.m. so the close is in an hour. Gonna maybe decompress for 30 minutes and charge in there. So thanks for watching, and even the bad advice, thank you. I appreciate it. Every comment is interesting. You have to invest in XRP. It's the only way. All aboard the XRP lifeboat. It's funny to me. And also it makes me think, because I'm like, am I wrong? Am I missing something? How have these people been profitable before without XRP? I don't know, right? It makes you think. And thinking is good. Discussion is good. Disagreement is good. Alright? Appreciate y'all. Much love. And